In this video, I'm going to show you how you can keep the Spark session alive in your Microsoft Fabric notebooks. But why would you want to keep your Spark sessions alive in the first place? Well, for starters, they do time out after a certain amount of time, and by default, that is after 20 minutes. Starting a Spark session could be very fast. It could be in seconds. It could also be many minutes. So when you go for a coffee or for a walk during lunchtime and you come back and your Spark session has been disconnected because of the default timeout of 20 minutes, that might be a little bit annoying if you then have to wait for another couple of minutes before you can start working again. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can actually increase your Spark timeout settings. And at the end of the video, I will also explain why you might want to be a little bit careful with setting them too high. So let's dive into my laptop. Alright, so here we are looking at my laptop at Microsoft Fabric, or the Power BI portal at my TFG demo workspace. Let's open one notebook. It doesn't matter which one. Let's open this one for now. And we see that there is no session active. We can connect to a new session. We could run a cell in the notebook. It doesn't really matter. Doing either of those will start up a new Spark session. So I believe this one will be done fairly quickly, and indeed within 5 seconds this session has started. So the problem that we're facing is not really in these notebooks where the session starts in 5 seconds. It's more the notebooks where you have session that starts in 5 minutes or so. That would be more annoying. Now, when you have an active session in your Fabric notebooks, what you will see is on the bottom left-hand side there is a session ready indicator here, the green check mark. It is also a button. You can click it, and if you click that, it will show you that the session will expire in 119 minutes. Hey, that's not the 20 minutes that I've been talking about, right? Correct. I've been changing the default timeouts for my notebooks already. And what you can see right here is the session information. So you'll find the ID, etc., and you'll find when your session actually will time out. Now, this session will time out in 119 minutes, and there's a reset button to the side of it. If you click that, you might expect that the session will be reset and it will expire within 120 minutes, or any other timeout settings that you might have set. That is not the case. When you click the reset button, it will allow you to force the session to time out after a set number of time. You can put in minutes or hours, but let's put in 5 minutes for now, just for the demo. So we have now put in the session timeout at 5 minutes, and you will see that my session timeout will expire in 4 minutes. This is actually just an integer number that is rounded down, I believe, which is the reason we see a 4-minute timeout right now. Now, if we don't do anything, if we don't run any code and cells in the notebook, and we come back after 5 minutes, our session will be killed because of the timeout. All right. So if you want to save a bit on compute, set your timeouts a little bit shorter. If you want to get more continuous sessions that don't time out after you've went for a walk, set longer timeouts. Now, this is setting the timeouts from the notebook itself. But what if you're working with many different notebooks? It might be a little bit annoying to set them on the notebook level. Instead, you can set them on the workspace level. So let's go into the workspace again. And then on the top right-hand side, we go to workspace settings. We go to data engineering/science. We go to Spark settings. And within the Spark settings, we find the jobs tab. Under Jobs tab, we can find here the default Spark session timeout that is available for every notebook in our current workspace. Okay, so as you can see, I've set it to 2 hours right now. The default is 20 minutes. Let's not set it to 20 hours, but to 20 minutes. And when I hit save, the session will now automatically default to a 20-minute timeout. All right, so this is quite convenient if you actually want to enable a standard setting for all of your notebooks within a workspace. Now let's check if that's actually worked. We go to our running session again, and you will find here on the bottom left side that my session is ready, but it will expire in 3 minutes. Now when I run a cell, it will start running and it will say expiring in 4 minutes again. Actually, that's 4 minutes, 59 seconds or something. But you will see that every time you run code, the session timeout will reset again. All right. But this session is still timing out in 5 minutes, not in 20 minutes like we've just set in the example. So what we have to do here is we have to stop our session, and then we have to start a new session. And starting a new session this quickly might actually be a bit of a problem. So let's reload the page for now and try to run the session here. We run into an issue here with the limits, where the Spark engine doesn't quite know yet that we've already disconnected, but we will cut this out of the video. So when we then try to run the cell again, it should be able to reconnect to a new session, or not reconnect, it will connect to a new session. And indeed, the session is now started in 5 seconds. It will start running the cell in that new session that we've just created. And after the cell is done running, it should say session is ready again. And when we go there, we will find out that the session indeed expires now in little under 20 minutes. So now you know how you can change the default timeout settings from 20 minutes to anything else you'd like, both from the workspace level as well as on the individual notebook level, by just going either into the session information settings from your notebook or going into the workspace settings in your workspace. Now there is one caveat to this. You might not want to set your sessions to timeout in a very long time, because if you're like me, you might forget to manually close down your sessions. You can close down your session by clicking on this stop session button right here. If you do not do that and your session is still active, your session will continue to eat up compute power from your Fabric capacity. So if you're like me and you're a bit forgetful maybe, and you set a 5-hour timeout, then for the next 5 hours your session will start to eat your capacity, and that might be a little bit difficult. So you would maybe want to be a bit careful with this. If I know I'm going to present at a conference, I will maybe do slides first and a demo second. I might set my timeout session to an hour or to 2 hours in order to make sure that I can actually start the session before the presentation starts. And then afterwards, I can just kill the session, right? But I'll do that not on every notebook that I'm working on, because otherwise I might forget, it will eat up my Fabric capacity and it will burn down my credit card. So now you know how this works and how you should handle your session timeouts. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.